Hi, Jamie with Inward Growth Counseling here. And today I want to talk about one of the key concepts that really I see makes a difference inside of rational motive behavior therapy. And one of the things that I would say Dr. Ellis really felt was important for people to really fulfill on who they could be and really grow in ways that are meaningful for oneself. And that is the idea of unconditional self-acceptance, or USA. And so unconditional self-acceptance, for those of you who are into the counseling field, you can go back to this idea of unconditional positive regard as a key concept for working with clients where, we really listen as counselors and set aside all of our judgments or assessments or things like that and really have positive regard for people. Well, for those of you who are not in the counseling field, unconditional self-acceptance is really a personal version of that. So consider that unconditional self-acceptance is really being comfortable with oneself in your own skin. As you are and as you're not. Like really not being caught up in the game of comparisons. And I contend that that's kind of a hard thing in our society. Personally, the things that there are that we compare ourselves against, I think some of the obvious ones are, do we have as much money as other people? Are we as fit or in shape? Or does our body look a certain way compared to other people? Do we eat in a way that's as good as other people? Do we have as much talent or ability as other people? And it's this constant kind of keeping up with the Joneses idea that's challenging. And it's part of what has this idea of unconditional self-acceptance be somewhat countercultural. In fact, I would say very countercultural. So, our culture is really all about the newest, greatest, biggest, best thing. And also the newest, greatest, best version of ourselves. And I want you to consider that really comes from this comparison. Versus being able to just be with ourselves in the way that we are and the way that we're not. Not in comparison to others. And it's not about not caring, although, at a certain level it is. Like, there's not really being too caught up or worried about what other people say or what they think. But it's really about one's comparison in relation to other people, but it's really our own assessments and judgments about that. Now, I'm not saying people don't judge us. They do, right? But we judge other people too. I know that in the background of my life, and that little voice in my head is always going, na 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 na. What do you think about how that person looks? What is it about that person and what they said? So there's constant judging and assessing. And yet at the same time, we think about one of the things that I talked about previously was mindfulness, and mindfulness in relation to REBT. And we think about being mindful, it's noticing those thoughts, those judgments, those comparisons, and just noticing that they're there. And not making that wrong. Like, that's just what we do as people. We have this constant dialogue going on. And it's about other people, it's about ourselves, it's about us in comparison to other people, it's about all of those things that, though, end up disempowering us and does end up, in a way, causing harm to ourselves and hurt to ourselves. It's those irrational beliefs that we hold. And, in some ways it's about that someday I'll arrive. And it's, unconditional self-acceptance isn't about not growing. It's not about not being willing to take on growing as a person, but it's also being willing to be comfortable in your skin in the moment that you're in, and noticing all the thoughts, noticing all the judgments and assessments, and really getting that there's nothing wrong with who you are. In fact, who you are is absolutely perfect in the present moment that you're in. So, if you found this to be helpful, great. Please feel free to share it with people in your life. Please feel free to like it. And please, I invite you to watch some of my other videos or subscribe. Have a good one.